It's cracking my neck, man.
Arthritis setting in right now.
Yeah.
Good morning. Welcome back, everybody. It's been a week or two since we had a chat. And this is Internet Dad Show. I'm Jason. I'm supposed to push the design thing. I love this. I love these tools that they have over here on Rumble. This is just so good. That you have to do everything many times. I'm at Jason Says Things on X, and there's at Dad Deke on X. And Dave, are you on X at all?
Sure.
Are you?
I don't touch it.
You don't do X? That's where all the news is. That's where all the news is. No opinions on that.
You can find news anywhere you want to go, man.
Yeah, but that's where the independent journalists actually are. That's where, you can pick up.
You can find independent journalists on TikTok. You can find independent journalists on Snapchat. You can find independent journal in your email every day. News is everywhere.
Sure. So we were talking just before, Dave. I'm working on an app. And it's a wet. It's like, it'll be like
a. Tell you about my $1 million idea.
Okay, tell me about your $1 million idea.
We won't talk about it on the show.
My idea is not $1 million idea. I think my idea is close to a dozen, maybe $2 dozen idea.
No, it's not. You've got a $1 million idea.
Dave has $1 million idea.
It's not a.
I might legit have $1 million idea.
It's not an instant $1 million idea, but in the long term, it will be. In the longevity, it is a wonderful freaking idea.
I don't know.
And if you take it down the main path and then go down those couple of 2 or 3 side paths we were talking about, that's where the ching comes in.
Well, I think thinking about the side paths makes me think broader than, because my initial interest was I just don't like what I don't like that these people won't tell me what I'm allowed to say and not say. So I'm just it's completely petty. So I guess I'll recount.
Did Dave say his idea? Did you say your idea? No, don't say your idea.
No. I will say that it's along the lines of Lyft and Uber and DoorDash and.
My dad had a great idea one time. He told me, we was out deer hunting one time, and I'll never forget this. My dad's a joker. He said, "Son, I got $1 million idea for deer hunters: camouflage toilet paper."
Ew. Yeah.
Camouflage toilet paper.
They make it.
$1 seller. They do. Yeah,
they do. I've seen.
One year for Christmas, I gave my uncle a roll of toilet paper, and every sheet on the toilet paper had jokes on it. So while you're in the bathroom,
you need that.
My father-in-law. My father-in-law, who's passed away now, but you still walk into his bathroom and sitting right on the little cabinet above the toilet is a roll of Obama toilet paper, still in its little plastic.
Obama toilet paper.
Yeah.
So
you get some of your morning shock and all.
We'll talk about dire wolves in just a second, but for the nobodies that's watching. So originally I have comic books. I like comics. That's this is
that's how we
if you guys haven't
that's
if you
how
guys
all
haven't
three
bought,
of us met.
If you guys haven't bought a comic book in a while, this is a 3-issue miniseries, 1 of 3. Daredevil, Cold Day in Hell. Daredevil, if you look close, it's an old man. It's an old man Daredevil who lost his powers. So now he's just an old blind guy. And then
he still has skills.
And then there's a terrorist attack or domestic terrorist attack or something, and he gets back some of his super hearing or whatever it is. And okay, so I like comics, and the best app that I had found for tracking comics was pretty cool. Like you could go and you could take your phone and scan the barcode and add it to your collection, or you could search and look up stuff. And it, I liked, yeah, it was good. It was great. And then I put, and so I created a profile, and I put in my profile like almost nothing, because I was honestly, let me tell you the use case that I have for this. I have picked up some issues of Next Men from John Byrne from the 1990s. You remember Next Men? I have issues 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have issue 12, and I have like some of the later issues. I'm missing some in my run. I scanned the ones that I have, and then when I'm at the comic book store, I can be like, oh yeah, I was going to look for some Next Men's in the quarter bin or whatever, and I can go to my collection, and I can scroll through and be like, oh, here's the ones I don't have. Because I can't remember stuff like this. So that's my use case, is like, I want to record my collection so that when I'm out and about, I can be like, oh yeah, which one was I going to pick up? Let me go make sure that I get the right one. Because when I haven't done that, I've picked up multiple issues of the same multiple copies of the same issue because I forgot that I had already bought it or didn't buy it or whatever. So I go over to their website and I tracked my comics, and I tracked my comics for like 6 months, a year, or whatever. I put my entire catalog, long boxes in there, and then in my bio, I was like, "Oh, make comics great again," or something like that. It was like it was nothing, and the moderator took time to take his butt plug out of his butt and banned me. And I was like, what the F? Hey, what did I do? You wrote stuff on your profile that's unacceptable. Meanwhile, if you go over to their community, they'll tell you that like Trump's a Nazi or whatever. So like these people are so being a free speech absolutist and an ornery son of a bitch, I was like, well, I'll just make your whole website, but I'll make it mine and it'll be free. So that's what I'm working on.
Cool.
And I told him to expand,
dude,
to not only offer comics.
Well, that's true. And I have a couple of other angles. I want to tie in. One, I don't want to do a community on a website. You guys don't go to Facebook. You don't go to other like websites to communicate with people, like to socialize, right? You socialize on
in person.
Facebook or Twitter or in person, sure. But you don't go over to like John's comic book community website to chat with people. Why would you do that? It's crazy when there's better things for that. So as you guys know, that we have Discord servers, and we've been on Discord for a while, and there's alternatives to Discord, but I have a chat bot. So I was thinking like, I'll put my collection on my website, and then I'll be able to go to Discord and I'll talk to my bot, and I can be like, hey, give me the issues of John Byrne's Next Men run or whatever. And it'll be able to query my collection and give me.
When you upload mine, you let me know and I'll upload my collection.
How big is you got a comic?
Not that big. No, I might have 2 long book boxes total if I can find them all.
Yeah. Well, look, I don't have that much anymore. I mean, I got stuff here, but and I got a couple of long boxes anymore. But I used to have tons more stuff, and I don't have anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm more of a tinkerer than a collector. I buy stuff and read them, and then like leave them on my shelf, and I don't worry about them being graded or anything like that. I'm a comic reader. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now I'm not a collector in the sense of like, the people that do collectoring, but
there's only been a handful that I've collected, like Superman's death, and
I finally opened mine. I finally opened my Superman's death. I finally opened it.
Oh, spoilers! He didn't die.
Well, I bought it. I bought it bagged and I bought it unbagged.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see the stuff that came inside the bag.
So curiosity got to you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm just like, it oversold.
The armband. Did you get the black armband?
Yeah, I still have it. It all oversold. So the comic value didn't just go anywhere.
Right.
So I decided I'd go ahead and open it.
That was an issue. So that's interesting. Wouldn't it be cool if you could look up an issue and see like how many issues this actually had in the run? For instance, like Death of Superman had probably 3 to 5 million.
X-Men number 1.
X-Force number 1.
X-Force number 1.
Yeah.
Ridiculous numbers.
Wait a minute. Hang on. X-Force number 1. I had 15 issues of X-Force number 1, but every one of them were different. Because X-Force number 1 was bagged and offered 5 different cards.
Yep.
So I had all 5 of those cards. But on the back of comics that year was Captain America's 50th anniversary. Yep. So there was a white logo with the black Captain America etched into it with the 50. So that's what it looked like for those 5 X-Force comics. Well, they screwed up. And they reversed that Captain America logo. Mm-hmm. So you have 5 with the reversed Captain America logo. And if you were lucky enough to go out to grocery stores and stuff like that, you could get all 5 with the UPC symbol. That wasn't all comic book shops don't have the UPC symbol, but grocery stores and stuff do. So I had 15.
There's one more variant.
Force number 1.
There's one more variant in the X-Force comics. The only reason I know about it is because Fabian told me about it. Nice Isaiah, the other artist,
the creator of X-Force. Yeah. He's the creator of X-Force.
Yes,
Rob LaFell.
He's the co-creator of Deadpool.
Yeah. So anyway, what do you mean? He told you? He talked to you?
He told me. Yeah. I met him. I got a picture taken with him. I opened my X-Force 1 so he could sign it, and he said the bags are supposed to biodegrade in 10 years. That didn't happen. This was like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I got to meet him. At any rate, one of the screws or a couple of the screws came loose on the printing machine, and so several of them have like a white, just like a really faint white line down the middle of it, and that's where the screws scrape paint off. He said there's like a couple thousand that are like that.
Wow.
So there's one other variant out there.
Do you have the damaged variant?
Oh, okay. No, but I have a Nice Isaiah autographed.
I think X-Force number 4 was X-Force number 4 was a duo book that went over to like Amazing Spider-Man, and those were the last 2 runs that McFarlane drew.
Yep. I remember because I had the By Todd on that one. It was so cool. It was such a good series.
You had the Tide Pod?
By Todd. The cover said By Todd.
Yeah, the cover said By
Todd. By Todd.
BYESODD.
By Todd.
Right.
Yeah.
Bye. Oh, Goodbye Todd. Oh, I had that one. That's the one that was 90 degrees. It was sideways.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah.
I had that issue.
Yeah.
That's one of the ones that are gone.
Back in the day, those were the big popular. Everybody had those issues, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I was a New Mutants collector, so I had Deadpool's first appearance. I
started with 99.
No, I mean I started.
I started with 99.
Oh,
I started with New Mutants 99. 98 was
98 was his first. Yeah,
I started with 99.
No, I was like in the 60s. I loved. I think I don't remember what story I started on, but I just loved. And then when Cable came in, I was like, "Who is this dude?" You know, he became my favorite character of all time. So,
let's see if this is it. Is this the one? I remember issue. Let's see.
How much is the first appearance of Deadpool worth now?
Oh, tens of thousands. It was over 10,000. If it's graded, I think. If it's not graded, it might be like 3.
This is it. Okay. So I way back in the 1990s, I used to read Wolverine. We all read Wolverine.
$2,500 for a 9.8.
For a 9.8?
Yeah.
Graded?
Yeah. Graded.
Dude, it was in the tens of thousands last time I looked.
It just went down.
Do you remember these issues of Wolverine? This one in particular, this yellow one.
The yellow one. I had the yellow one. I had the one before that.
I had 2 copies of this, and I think that. Well, hold on. I'm not going to scroll down yet. I was, if you remember, like this is a fond memory for me. I believe I was at Walmart or Kroger or whatever, and I picked it up because back in the day, you used to be able to buy comic books from the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and this one, and it was so cool because it had cardstock cover, and then it had literal that where it's black right there. That's actually holes. It was punched out, and then you saw through that.
Yeah,
and the other day when I was at the comic shop, I saw this book right here. This is called, this is by Rob Remender, and it's called "We're Taking Everyone Down with Us." And it's cool. It's got like a robot and then like a bullet hole where this chick has shot through the robot, and it's got the punch out. So nice. So this is super cool, and this book is actually really neat. It's a little pretty cool. So this is one of my fondest memories of comics, to be honest. That issue of Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember if that's the one or not, where like he ends up like getting his hair shaved off or burnt off or whatever, and then like it grows back by the end of the issue because it's healing factor. Like, I just remember thinking like, well, that's kind of neat.
Which is weird because hair is already dead.
Right, but making hair is something that's what's really weird is that his hair doesn't constantly grow, like if it grows that fast when he's damaged. Yeah. So this is the Metron database. This is what I'm going to use for the back end of my web app.
There was a 90s Wolverine comic that I had that I loved. It was a Wolverine and Spider-Man team up where they fought the Wendigo. And Wolverine's fan, he had the fan mask with the big, huge ears. Oh my word, it was ridiculous. And his arm claws, his claws were ridiculously long. And I'm like, how far into his arm do they go? But that was like one of my favorites.
Do Good says we all seem to really have issues.
Yes. yes, I have issues.
Hey, he can't see that message you typed. See,
I know. I accidentally I hit the T instead of the Y, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, let's put Do Good on screen. Morning, guys. Yeah, we got issues. So my question is, Dave, are you a collector of things other than comics? Do you collect stuff?
Sure, I collect.
I'm trying to get a feel for like what are properties about collecting things that collectors care about.
Having every one of them.
Think so?
Yes. I have been that collector's mind since I was a child. I know that about me. I recognize that about me early. That's why I don't do certain things and I stay away from certain things. World of Warcraft, I never played it. Mm-hmm. I knew what would happen. I never
had enough crack in my life.
Infinite digital junk for you to get.
I started playing Dungeons and Dragons when I was 13 years old. I'll be 48 in a couple of months, and I'm still doing it every single day.
So what about that? Like Dungeons and Dragons? Okay, so like, what are the accoutrements that you would collect in Dungeons and Dragons?
This is what I was going to get at. When I was a kid, do you remember on the back of the card stocks for the Star Wars characters, and it was yellow, and it had every one of the characters in that series like lined up? What I would do is I would have my action figure and I would lay it down, and I had cut every one of those out of the back of one of those cards and put it was just a little bitty square, and I would lay it down beside, and the squares that I didn't have, that's the ones that I'd go to Walmart to get. I wanted them all. So if I had an easy way to open up my phone, open this app, and hit my Magic the Gathering, Funko Pop, comic book, action figure, whatever it is, boom, I can look up and it can say average retail price of a Gamorrean guard from 1986 is $150. So I know this guy's trying to jip me off. If I had it easily available to where I don't have to, hey, blah, 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 can you blah, 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 because you don't want to do that crap. But that's what I would like. That's what I'm saying. I'm not a Funko Pop collector, but I know Funko Pop collectors, and some of them just want them all, and that's what they want to be able to look at a series and see the ones that are blued are the ones that I have, and the ones that aren't blued are the ones that I need. Something very easy, so that if I'm looking at a store and there's 50 Funko Pops in front of me, I don't have to sit there and search for 20 minutes. I can go, oh.
Yeah. So like that, I mean, that's exactly what I used this app for. I was like, I'm going to go, I had picked up some
Ricochet.
Like way back when I was a kid, I bought Wildcats whenever that launched. Cause I was like right there at the launch of Image Comics.
So I was too.
Yeah.
I bought all that
launched
stuff.
Wetworks,
Youngblood,
by
Wetworks.
you know,
I loved Wetworks. Gen 13.
And it's got some nostalgia for that. And like, are all the books good? No, but like there's some that I remember that I don't have anymore. So like when I'm out running around and I see stuff in the like super discount bins, I'm like, well, do I already have this? Let me make sure if I have it. So now I'm working on I'm trying to come up with a better way to store comics than this, which is just on a shelf behind me or in a couple of boxes in the other room, and I don't know what that's going to be yet, but I want to be able to like, oh yeah, I have that run. And my wife asked me the other day, she was like, what are you doing with these after you've read them? Like I told her, I was like, oh, I read this on the pirate site the other day and I thought it was good, so I wanted to go get it. And she was like, you've already read it. Why'd you buy it if you've already read it? I was like,
support.
Well,
I have it.
I bought it. I want to have it. Like I want to read it. And she's like, you read it. So what are you going to do with it now?
I'll read it again.
I'm going to put it in my collection and I'm going to have like the whole run. And she just looked at me like
some people don't have that, and that's fine. Some people don't have that collector's.
I want to try to have the first edition of everything if I'm collecting something. I don't like to miss stuff. Whether we're talking about books or comics or albums from an artist, like I tried to get every single album that Eric Clapton appeared on.
Yeah.
Oh my word, that got expensive real quick.
Dude, let me tell you, and this is back in the day when I used to get torrents all the time. That was me and my brother's thing. Is we would go to the torrent sites and type in discography, and then we would just see what came up. And we're like, oh, there's the Bob Marley discography, everything he's ever done. I had the Johnny Cash discography. I can't even guess how many folders it had inside that folder, but I had the complete New Testament being read by Johnny Cash, stuff that you've never heard before. So yes, I have that collector's aspect when it comes to that. But there are people that collect albums, JJ, that want first runs of albums and stuff.
So music is one thing that it occurred to me like, oh yeah, people collect music, but then I'm like, well, you guys already have like Apple Music or whatever. So
when the power goes out, the Apple Music is not there. And if the rights to that music are up for grabs, then that music disappears. So and your algorithm tells you what to freaking listen to all the time.
The longest time, Beatles were not on Apple Music.
But if you own the physical CD copy, nobody is going. You can't find this right here. It does not exist on the internet. This band and these songs does not exist on the internet anywhere. I've looked, but I have it right here. And nobody's going to be able to take this shit away from me.
Who is that?
It's a band called The October.
Oh, I've heard of it. Have I heard of the October?
Maybe not. Probably not. They were kind of a regional local band that was.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it's making. I told Alex. I said if a band were to take some of these songs today, you would have a number one hit. I got in trouble on my Hot AC station back 20 years ago for playing these songs.
Thanks for hanging out.
Because they were local.
He's not been checking in with us. Well, you haven't missed anything, Rick.
It's good to have physical copies, and people like to collect that. And especially the kids today collect CDs.
Okay. So do they really?
Yeah,
my son does. My oldest son does.
They do. They collect Kendra.
They collect CDs and records.
Are they collecting them ironically?
No.
Like the way that 10 years ago, people would collect records when really they didn't listen to records. They just collected records.
Dude, you'll appreciate this, Deke. Micah went and saw the Wootens.
Yeah.
He got his picture taken with Victor, and I mean, all four brothers are there. He got to hang out with them after the show. It was Monday night. There was a tornado watch. They were in Glasgow, and there was like nobody there because of the weather. but he got to hang out with them, and so music's important to my son, and I love that. I love that so much. So yeah, he loves CDs, and he like pillaged my CD collection. Mm-hmm. I don't really have much CD players. I mean, cars don't anymore, and everything of mine's on Apple Music. I download the albums if I like them, so I always have.
Right.
Yeah, I gave my daughter my old CD case. It was full of CDs. It's like, you might like some stuff in here, you might not. You can have them.
Well, okay, so for my project, I don't want to solve a problem somebody's already solved better, right?
Make it more accessible.
Yeah, dude. There's Walmart, there's Target. Both those stores sell the same thing.
Yeah, but if for me, like, I don't know enough about music or what people care about when they're collecting music.
You don't have to.
And it's so like,
you're a repository, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, the idea is that it'll be a place where you can store your collections of things, but at least the beginning, it's going to have to be collections that I define what they are, like what the properties of collection.
You have to define it, or can you pull in from an outside resource?
So let's. This is nerdy, but this is important because this is what I have to actually kind of like solve. Okay, so I'm tracking a collection of items, and there's certain properties of the collection that I'm going to record. I'm going to record a unique ID for whatever it is that whatever your item is, when you got it, how much it cost, whatever, that kind of stuff. That's separate from like the descriptions about the item. So for the descriptions about comic books, I'm going to reach over to a different service that has an API that their whole thing is describing comics, and I'm going to pull their descriptions and I'm going to marry those up to my items. But then they're not going to have all that information. So I have to go to another source to pull additional information and kind of pad it together. So this process of linking external data and mapping it to your collection in the scope of comic books is one job. But then, like, if I define some other job, I'm going to have to go find a different data source and create a different map. The collection properties overall would still be like, oh, here's my item, and here's when I got it, and here's how much it cost, or whatever kind of basic descriptions of your stuff. But then the describers, the thing that make it attractive, like picture of it or whatever, that I have to map that in from external sources. So that's the problem. Oh no, Deke's having a bad phone call.
Sorry,
missed your break.
I'm doing trivia all week long for these NASCAR tickets, and usually the first couple of days is rough. I'll ask the question. I usually will, the callers will have one or two callers. It's usually it takes a little bit of ramp up to get the people going. For the last 2 days, out of 8, 9, 10 times that I've asked 10 trivia questions, he's gotten like 7 of them.
The same guy?
The same guy.
You need me to come up with a trivia question for you?
I've got like 70 here. He's just a NASCAR fanatic. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt everything. No, I think you've got a great idea. I think you've just got to get the bones done. You got to get the foundation laid, and once you get that done, you can start building walls and stuff, man.
Well, yeah. So
you need to find a version of that API for the comic books with everything that you're looking for.
There doesn't
a version with books.
Make it.
There has to be. There has to be a catalog somewhere.
I've done this research. There is a primary API that I'm going to use that's going to have a lot of information, but it's also got a lot of gaps. It's called Metron. Metron comic book API. Okay. Now Metron, let me pull this up.
And you're not crowdsource?
What crowd? I don't know if you've noticed this, but we don't have an audience, Dave. So
he does music.
Yeah. So Metron has a lot of information, but Metron is a project that's born out of a problem, and the problem is that there's a project called the Great Comic Book Database, except they don't have an API. It's literally just a database, and you have to download the entire thing, and that doesn't work for web stuff. And it doesn't have all the like properties that you really need for tracking comic books. So there's other services. There's Comic Vine, but Comic Vine is owned by some company, and they don't want to. They have no API for you, and only for like retailers. And then there's League of Comic Geeks, but they're proprietary and assholes, so they're not sharing any information. And so like what you have is like you have a bunch of different independent groups that are privately tracking stuff and have different amounts of information, but they're not sharing it together. Metron is sharing it. It is an open database. It is a project where you can
bet with the right instructions, you could easily get our friends that are artificial intelligence to do that for you. I bet you with the right series of instructions.
If this database that you can download it as a CSV, right?
No, it's a SQL database. Nope. And there's a tool to import. Yeah, no. Okay. And and there's additional problems. Okay, so so I have the database. Where am I going to put it? Well, I have to put a database for the web app up on the cloud that uses an API. That means every time you're looking up information, you're querying the database, and so the problem scales quite a bit. So Metron, what's the singular of audience? Audient. Isn't it? Oh, we have an audient.
Yeah.
So Metron solves most of my problems, which is I want a remote source that I can use an API to send queries and get, and they've got a sophisticated API, which means I will be able to, in my app, to be like, I'm looking for this stuff. Give me a return back of information. So Metron solves that problem, but Metron's data is not complete. And there's a second problem. They have a certain limit to queries. So if my app scales, I will blow out their limits. So what I have to do, first thing I have to do is set up my app so that it talks to my database. My database goes over and it queries Metron, and then I cache the response and I hold on to it. And then every other time I make that query, I'm just talking to my own database. So I have to cache and pull from their data. And then I have to solve for the gaps, which is, they don't have that. So I'm going to have to reach over to some other data source and fill in the gaps. Or I'm going to have to let my users fill in like, oh, this comic doesn't exist. Daredevil, whatever, doesn't exist in their database. We have to fill it in ourselves until Metron catches up.
Give them the ability to offer stuff like that. I think it's a good idea.
I like it. This is a complicated problem, and that's just comics. So every other thing, pop figures and action figures, whatever, I'm gonna have similar problems. But whatever, it's my project I'm working on. All right. There's no crowd to crowdsource though. I
know. There's no crowd to crowdsource. I was like, I could pimp my freaking books on Amazon now, but there's nobody.
Right. I have enjoyed what I've read so far.
Really? Which one did you read?
I read the transmission first. Last request. I'm reading.
The request.
I'm reading the Watcher one right now.
No, here, bring this up. Make me moderator.
You are a moderator.
You are a moderator because I was able to show stuff.
Oh, here, then don't bring that up because that's still in the midst of. I hadn't even worked on that very much.
Yeah, I'm reading The Caretaker right now.
Papa Rudd Press presents The Lost Transmissions, 3 books. Now, Deke, I have a question.
Okay.
And I don't want you to get offended.
Okay.
Why is it center justified?
What?
Why is
it centered text? I kind of liked it.
It's all centered. Why is it centered?
I like that. Do you not like that?
I expect to read a story and
it's different.
It was very immediately distracting because I'm like, this is how you do a script. Is this a script? And so I was immediately.
It's a.
They're often.
And I thought it was me. I was like,
I really appreciate.
Have I done something?
I really appreciate you though because your criticism that you give me on my stuff is always like shit that I would have never, ever, ever, ever noticed. What was the one? There was one that I was like, dude, I don't think I would have ever, 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 ever picked that up. It was something I don't remember.
Well,
the cat in the cat book. Hang on, let me go turn this off.
While he's doing that, I'll say, like, when I started reading it jarred me for a second. Like, why is it all centered? And then I'm like, well, wait a second. Let me think about this holistically. This is a transmission. I can see this as a transmission coming through line for line. It's going to be centered text.
Immediately took me out, and
I didn't do that for a reason. I just like that.
Well, I pulled it up on my phone. And I was like, what have I done to my app? How come I can't change this and fix it?
Do I need to go through and recenter or reline all these to the left?
First edition.
It would have to be second edition. Yeah, they would have to be a second edition.
Is there an option for it to be in your file where it can go one or the other? Like,
no,
I don't know.
when I format the book to EPUB and the Kindle and stuff like that, I have to go back in and just select all and hit the right button and save it and re-upload it and get it approved.
I can remove the DMR for you and I can center it.
I would be completely lost.
JJ, I can
remove the DMR. Send you the document files from my Google Drive so that you can read the books. Have those, but you can read them and you can hit the.
I think I have those.
Okay,
I'll gladly do that.
Honestly, like, we weren't really talking last week, but one of the things I wanted to tell you before that whole thing happened was like, hey, Deke, I know if you're working on your books, that's great, and what we should do is set up a pre-launch page so that you can spend a month telling people my books are going to launch, sign up. And then we push people to sign up, and then you use that as a list to push everybody at once to go get your books. But hopefully you're putting these out on your Facebook page or whatever.
I'm going to. I've got them up on Amazon. I'm working on getting them. They're up on Google Play Books right now, but they're all being approved. I need to check that this morning. And then I was getting them on Barnes & Noble yesterday, but I ran out of time. And I'm trying to get them up on all the different platforms and stuff but Kindle publishes a different format than the EPUB. And I have to use the e-publishing on the other ones for the reflowable format and all this kind of, it's taken longer to get the books actually up. It feels like it's taken the same amount of time, because these are short stories that I'm offering right now. And these are all just little ideas that I've had forever, that I've never put them down. But I love the Twilight Zone. I love Black Mirror, love Hate and Robots. I love those little short stories that start in the middle of something and end. And I love those types of stories. So this is what these are. If you like these are, and I wanted a Twilight Zone. Well, I thought Lost Transmissions. I'm a 30-year radio guy. This is perfect. These are lost transmissions. So at the beginning of every story, you have a little Rod Serling type, explaining, in The Caretaker, there's one that talks about perspective. And
are you going to do audiobooks of these? Or
yes, I'm going to read the audiobooks and do that. I have to, and I was joining that yesterday. There's a whole separate partnership website you got to join to do audiobooks and then upload the audio. It's a freaking nightmare.
I would love to hear you read these.
I
would love to hear you read these
because I
want you reading it.
Yeah,
you're not done launching.
No, when there's going to be 6 books in the Lost Transmission series, and I'm going to print them in a hard book together, and it's going to be called Lost Transmission.
Center justify them.
I'm probably going to left align them because for JJ's sake. But these are just the little short story. They're like 30 pages. They take you about 30 minutes to read.
I think I'm a speed reader. Like I read fast, but I'm also used to like left align stuff. Like, because I can just back and forth.
Well, JJ, it's always good to try something new in life.
Yeah, I don't know. I want you to do a pre-launch like thing. Just a page, your card page is fine. It doesn't have to have a lot of stuff. It needs to have sign up, and you need to catch all those email addresses and put them in and get them in a list so that you can because you what you need to do is every month or every week you need to be sending an email out. My story's out on here. Go check it out. Go get this, whatever. It's only $3. Give me money.
the one that I've been working on, the next story in this series is going to be based on L'appel du vide, is what the French call it. We call it the call of the void. And not everyone experiences this sensation, but some people experience this thing called the call of the void. And it is that fleeting, immediate thought that goes away as quickly as it came when you're like standing on a high ledge and you think for a second, what if I just jumped? But you don't. You're not suicidal or anything like that. Or you're driving in the car and for a half a second you think, what if I just jerk the car into the other? You don't. You're not suicidal. You're not.
Every time I go up a ramp for an overpass over a bridge that does like this, I'm just like, what if I just drive off?
You have the call of the void.
Those are called intrusive thought. They're called intrusive thoughts.
Intrusive thoughts. And my story is based on some supernaturally stuff with that. Is the
make all of your buyers sign up for of your books, sign up for your YouTube channel. It's a win-win. Yeah, you gotta make a YouTube commercial too. You got a lot of stuff.
The singular of the audience. What's that mean?
The audience. Because I was like, we don't have an audience. We don't have a crowd.
Oh. Okay. I get it.
We're supposed to talk about Dire Wolves, but I don't know if we're going to.
The junior fiction book, the little kitty book, is being re-edited, edited, and then my 5 books on the D&D Tabletop Tales series, I'm trying to come up with a different name because there's 1,000 books called Tabletop Tales, Tales from the Tabletop, Tables, Fables, Fables from the Table. All this rhymey stuff that I need has already been used. So I'm trying to come up with they're all done. I've just got to change the cover and the title, the title of the books now, because I looked up Tabletop Tales and I'm like, Jesus Christ, there's 1 million of these. So I'm trying to come up with a title of the books and book series for my short stories about Dungeons and Dragons.
I'm not even in terms of like naming stuff. I'm not even sure that like I am having the same kind of thing. Like I don't know what I should call my web app. Like I don't know that it's like I'm trying to think of ways to workshop names. I already have the Collector Vault URL, but I'm not sure that works.
I'm one of those people that's the naming of things like shows and story usually is the last thing that I come up with.
It was one of our very first jobs in creation.
You guys just said 2 different things. He just said do it first,
but
you said do it last.
But what he said does work sometimes. Sometimes if I just say the Fargle Snatcher, now create a monster called the Fargle Snatcher, and you can do that. But that's the way that I have learned that I do it best is I do it and the name will come to me. Something will hit me. It's like when we used to do the names of the shows for the podcast, and every once in a while I'd send you one or you'd send me one, and we're like, just don't snap. You'll hear it and it'll snap.
Like Sinister Sunday School.
Try to force a name, especially for like your this website or this app.
No, I've
force a name.
Completely given up on that for this. It's not even naming them.
No, it'll come to you.
Start with the what it is.
Yeah,
it is a collection. Find another word for collection. There's thesaurus.
Well, I have a working title for now, but a working thing. But I feel like when you're in an app store or when you're searching for a website or something like that, and in your case you're searching for books, the name has to grab the person who finds it because you're in a list of search results. So
yeah. Swords and Boards would be fun, but it's a game shop. But if that's not a book name, man, that could be a fun book name. Swords and Boards. I'm trying to think of other things you could do with it, though.
I'm trying to keep
straight up still from.
I've brainstormed a lot, but I'm trying to keep it to where it still rings of you're at the table and we're telling stories based on dice rolls. So I've got a few that I like, but I don't love. So that's everything. And then my buddy's coffee shop, they're wanting to
your brew nights,
the blended brew adventures that I've made specifically for that coffee shop for D&D adventures. I've got 3 of them made, and they're wanting
brew nights. That's kind of cool. That's a cool name.
Yeah, with a K.
Brew nights. That's pretty
cool. With a K.
Yeah, that's nice.
Tavern Tales
dinner. Dicey dinner.
Taken.
Do what?
Tavern Tales, is that taken?
I think that one was taken.
Alliteration is really good for you know, sticking in people's minds. That's the thing.
I know. Okay, that's why I'm wanting. That's why I'm tabletop tales, tales from the table, fables from the table. All of those are taken. Table fables.
So, there's a property of stickiness to some words that works, and sometimes it doesn't. And that's entirely different than creative. That is a psychological thing.
Yes, so yes, you're exactly right.
Rhyming, alliteration, these kind of things, they work. You know.
Yep.
And that's a whole different thing. And anyway. Okay. It's 8:50. Is today Wednesday? Today's comic book day, but there's no books coming out that are any good.
I've got a show coming up in 10 minutes, 9 minutes. Lady will be
all right.
5.
All right. Jokes.
We didn't even talk about the dire wolves, but we can do that tomorrow.
I know.
Yeah.
Maybe we might start late. My wife wants to go to Dunkin' Donuts on the way home from the kid to pick up the kids. So
rock on.
It could be 8:15.
9:15.
I need to start the future. I need to start.
I will just make
channel so that you can listen to the audio books. Maybe no. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
So Deke, are you? You know what this weekend is, don't you? In Kentucky.
Remind me.
Opening of turkey season.
Oh yes, that's right.
The hunting season starts this weekend.
Yep. I remember that.
I was
the other day.
Yeah, I was getting everything together. Picked up my license yesterday. Looking for my camouflage pants. Still can't find them.
I don't.
Still can't find them.
Unless the world comes to an end and I've actually got to go hunt and fish, I'm cool with. I pick up the stink bugs out of here and the ladybugs and I take them outside. I try not to. That's cool though. I like turkey.
But I'm looking for my camouflage pants. I still can't find them.
I get it. It's a fun.
What do you call a Frenchman getting attacked by a cat?
I don't know what.
Claude.
I don't have any jokes.
That might be a good thing.
My robot's broken. Anyway, how about this? Literally take the first thing we find.
And he hits the second.
No, it doesn't add in the way. What do you call advice from a cow?
Utter nonsense?
Terrible. Beef tips.
That's actually kind of funny. Beef tips.
Yeah.
I might tell that one to my daughter. She'll give you a stupid look. A man knocked on my door today asking for donations for a local swimming pool. So I gave him a glass of water. Is that one good? Maybe. Work on that
one. What?
I went and visited a overweight psychic the other day.
Yeah.
And he was talking to me for a minute. He was actually like on point for a lot of things. I said, so what do I call you? He said, oh, I'm a fortune teller.
Why are hairdressers never late to work?
I don't know.
They know all the shortcuts.
Oh, no!
I was initially going to tell you guys a time traveling joke, but you guys didn't like it.
Politicians and talking heads lying left and right. You can help us bring facts into the light. Don't let your daughter